State government. India has a federal setup, which means that we have two levels of government. One is meant for the entire country, called the central or union government, and the other works at the state level, called the state government. The government at the state level functions almost similar to that of the central government. Just as we have the President, the Prime Minister, and the Council of Ministers working at the center, we have the Governor, the Chief Minister, and the Council of Ministers at the state level. As the Union Legislature, Parliament, enacts laws for the entire country, the state legislature enacts laws for its own state. It makes laws on the subjects mentioned in the state list and concurrent list. The Legislative Assembly, Vidhan Sabha. Our constitution provides for a maximum of 500 members and a minimum of 60 members in a legislative assembly. The governor of the state can nominate one member of the Anglo-Indian community if it has not been represented in the legislative assembly. The number of members in the assembly is fixed by the parliament in proportion to the population of the state concerned. The members of the Vidhan Sabha are elected directly by the people of the state. The qualification of the member and their tenure are similar to the members of Lok Sabha. Elections are based on universal adult franchise, meaning that all the persons above 18 years of age have the right to vote. The system of secret ballot is followed. The Legislative Assembly is elected for a period of 5 years. However, the governor may dissolve it earlier if he finds that a motion of no confidence is passed against the Council of Ministers or there is a breakdown of the constitutional machinery. He advises the President to dissolve the Legislative Assembly and impose President's rule. He may also dissolve the Legislative Assembly on the recommendation of the Chief Minister. Speaker. The Vidhan Sabha elects the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, who perform the same functions as the Speaker and Deputy Speaker in Lok Sabha. They are elected by the members of Assembly from amongst themselves. They hold office till new Assembly elects a new Speaker and a Deputy Speaker. They can be removed from the office earlier also by a resolution passed by the House. Functions of the Speaker. He presides over the meetings of the Vidhan Sabha. He decides whether a bill is a money bill or an ordinary bill. No bill or resolution can be passed without his permission. He maintains discipline in the House and sees that House functions according to the rules. The Vidhan Sabha makes laws on the subject mentioned in the state list. The procedure for passing the law is similar to that at the center. However, if a governor feels that a particular law will not benefit the state, he can withhold his assent and send it to the President. Legislative Council, Vidhan Parishad. Legislative Council is also known as Upper House in the state legislature. The maximum strength of the Legislative Council is 1/3 of the total strength of Legislative Assembly, subjected to a minimum of 40 members. The Legislative Council is a permanent body, as it cannot be dissolved. 1/3 of its members retire after every 2 years, and elections are held for vacant seats. The term of office of a member is 6 years. To become a member of the Legislative Council, a person should be a citizen of India and at least 30 years of age. He has to fulfill all other qualifications as specified by the Constitution. Unlike the Legislative Assembly, Legislative Council is not a directly elected body. 1/3 of its members are elected by the members of Legislative Assembly. Another 1/3 of its members are elected by the members of local government bodies. 1/12 of the members are elected by an electorate consisting of university graduates. Another 1/12 are elected by an electorate consisting of teachers of secondary schools, colleges and universities, and the remaining 1/6 are nominated by the governor of the state. These nominated members are distinguished individuals from different walks of life like arts, science, literature, music, social work, etc. The members of the Legislative Council elect a chairman and deputy chairman from amongst themselves. The chairman is the presiding officer in the House, and deputy chairman conducts the proceedings in his absence. They remain in office as long as they enjoy the confidence of the majority and can be removed from their office by a resolution passed by the majority. Functions of the legislature. Legislative functions. One of the most important functions of the state legislature is to make laws on 66 subjects mentioned in the state list and 44 subjects mentioned in the concurrent list. In case a law passed by the state legislature is contrary to a law passed by the union legislature, the central law prevails, or when the state legislature is not in session, the legislature controls the government. The chief minister remains in power so long as he enjoys majority in the Vidhan Sabha. The members of legislature use various methods to get information from the government about its policies and how it performs its functions. Debates and discussions in the legislature keep the government on its toes. Limitations on the powers of state legislature. Bills on certain subjects cannot be introduced in the state legislature without any prior approval of the President. Bills on certain subjects passed by the state legislative cannot be signed by the governor. They have to be sent to the President for his consideration and assent. The governor of the state can reserve any bill passed by the state legislature for the consideration of the President. Relations between Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council. A. Legislative Assembly is essential for a state, while Legislative Council is optional. B. Money bills can be introduced only in Legislative Assembly. The Legislative Council has to reject or pass the money bill within 14 days. Otherwise, the bill is considered to be passed. C. Legislative Council has limited powers over ordinary bill too. If it rejects a bill or makes changes or withholds it for 3 months, Legislative Assembly can pass it again. This time, the bill is considered passed if the Legislative Council does not return the bill within 1 month. D. In matters of exercising control over the executive, the Legislative Council has only formal powers and has less authority in toppling the government. Thus, we can see that the Legislative Assembly enjoys more powers than the Legislative Council. How bill becomes a law. A proposal to make law is called a bill. A bill can be of 2 types, ordinary bill and money bill. Ordinary bill relates to daily administration, whereas money bill relates to imposing of taxes or spending money from the treasury. An ordinary bill can be introduced in either of the 2 houses, whereas a money bill can only be introduced in the Legislative Assembly. The introduction of the bill in the House constitutes the first reading. The minister or the member in charge of the bill takes permission from the Speaker of the House to introduce the bill. Only the title of the bill is read out at this stage. During the second reading, clause-by-clause discussion takes place on different aspects of the bill. If it is passed by the House, the third reading of the bill takes place. At this stage, voting takes place. Once the bill is passed from one House, it is sent to the other House, where same procedure is followed again. If the second House also passes the bill, it is sent to the governor for his or her assent. When the governor signs the bill, it becomes a law. A governor has 2 options after receiving a bill. He or she may send the bill back to the legislature with his or her recommendations. But if the House passes the bill again, the governor has to sign it. Secondly, he or she may reserve the bill for the consideration of the President. State Executive. The State Executive consists of the Governor, the Chief Minister, and the Council of Ministers. We have the same pattern of the government in the state as we have at the central level. The head of the state is Governor, who acts on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Governor. He is appointed by the President of India for a term of 5 years, but he can be removed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. Qualifications. 1. He should be a citizen of India and at least 35 years of age. 2. If he is a member of the Parliament or the state legislature, he has to resign after assuming the office of Governor. 3. He cannot hold the office of prophet under the government. He shouldn't be mentally unsound or insolvent. Powers and functions. The powers and functions of the governor are similar to those of the president. He is answerable to the president and on many occasions executes the orders of the president. Executive powers. He is the constitutional head of the state. All administration is carried out in his name. It is for this reason that important appointments are made by him. He appoints the leader of majority party in the state legislature as the chief minister of the state. On the advice of chief minister, he appoints the council of ministers and all the top-level state officials. Legislative powers. He summons and prorogues the sessions of state legislature and addresses the first session of state legislature. No bill can become a law without the assent of the governor. He also has the power to reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. If the state legislature is not in session, the governor can issue orders called ordinances. These ordinances remain in force till 6 weeks of the next session of the state legislature, unless disallowed by the state legislature. Budget is presented in the Legislative Assembly by his name. Judicial powers. The governor can grant pardon, suspend, or commute punishment on appeals of mercy by the convicts. Discretionary powers. In some situations, the governor does not act on the advice of the Council of Ministers. In such situations, he exercises his discretionary powers. When it is not possible to carry out government in the state, according to the provisions of the Constitution, the governor can send a report to the President. This report recommends President's rule in the state. He also uses his discretion in the appointment of Chief Minister. If there is a hung Legislative Assembly, the governor can also reserve the bill for the consideration of the President. The Chief Minister. After the elections, the governor invites the leader of the party having a majority in the Assembly to form the government. The governor appoints the Council of Ministers on the advice of the Chief Minister and administers them the oath of office and secrecy. The Chief Minister presides over the meeting of the Council of Ministers. He acts as a link between the governor and Council of Ministers. He has the power to appoint, dismiss, or reshuffle members from the Council of Ministers. He also coordinates the work of different ministries. The Council of Ministers comprises 3 categories of ministers: Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of State, and Deputy Ministers. The Cabinet Ministers hold independent charge of various departments. They are assisted by the Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers. Ministers of State can hold independent charge, or they assist Cabinet Ministers. Deputy Ministers are lowest in rank. They help the Cabinet Ministers or Ministers of State in their work. Each minister is in charge of a particular department. This department relates to a subject which falls within the state list. The ministers work on the principle of collective responsibility, which means that if anything goes wrong, the entire Council of Ministers has to resign, which in effect means that government has to state administration. The executive at the state level comprises permanent and political executive. Political executive includes the head of the state and the ministers who are head of different departments. Policy according to which the administration of the state is run is determined by the political executive. But in actual practice, the daily administration is run by a large number of government officials who hold their office on permanent basis till they retire. They are appointed on merit and do not vacate office with a change in political executive. These civil servants are the backbone of administration. The bureaucrats of government offices run and manage different affairs of the different departments under the overall charge of the minister concerned. The bureaucratic head of each department is called secretary, who generally belongs to the IAS cadre. His selection and appointment is made by the Union Public Service Commission. He also acts as an advisor to the minister on all important matters. The chief secretary is the head of the secretaries, who supervise departments. The office of the secretaries is known as secretariat. The ministers' offices are also located in the secretariat. There is a hierarchical system from minister to the secretary and to another official concerned. This system is called bureaucracy, and the bureaucrats are called public servants as they serve the people. Trivia: Vidhan Sabha of Uttar Pradesh is a stately building in Lucknow. Sir Harcourt Butler laid its foundation in 1922. Trivia: The Building Housing Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council of Karnataka is called Vidhan Saudha. This building in Bengaluru is one of the most elegant government buildings. It is a mixture of modern and neo-Dravidian style of architecture.